It's
Good
just so
evening,
dark.
friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. And we're here tonight to give honor, recognition, and have some very heartfelt conversation about Mother Khadijah Farrakhan, who we know passed away on the 27th of June. So I have Doris here with me tonight, who
Good
will
evening,
definitely.
Denise.
All right, Doris, you got your lighting. I can see you now.
I can barely see me because it's kind of dark on my end.
Okay, well, you're just fine. I did invite a couple of other guests from the nation. I'm not certain if they'll be able to show up, but if they do come in, we'll definitely be happy to have them and add their commentary to our conversation tonight.
Okay.
And as you know, we're a nonprofit organization and we're working to enhance the awareness and support of our Black businesses here in Chicago. I think we're doing a little better. Our people are becoming more conscious of the necessity of supporting Black businesses. And I recall as I was out at the Juneteenth event, people were happy for us to come together. They were happy to be around each other and happy to support Black businesses. So when you're engaging with the business and you're spending your money, it's about a relationship.
It sure is.
And who you spending your money with, you should be more conscious and more aware of who you're spending your money with, where that money is going, how that money is going to come back to support your community. That's your money that you worked for. That's your money that you earned, and you have a right to get residuals from the dollars that you spend. And unfortunately, as we know, with this whole conversation around immigration that start even back with Frederick Douglass and W.E.B. Du Bois, it's not the people, it's the system, and it's the way the system is being used, and it keeps Black people here in America under a constant state of oppression, and it also happens with the other communities. When you go to other communities, I think this is Dr. Larry calling me. Let me see if he's
Oh,
having
God,
problems
Larry.
coming in. Dr. Larry, are you going to be able to come in with us tonight?
I don't see the email you sent.
Okay, so we are going to pause a second here while I'm trying to get Dr. Larry on. I'm going to let Doris talk here for a second. Hopefully, I'm not taking you off the screen. But let's see what happened. Okay, Doris, you can go
Yeah.
on. Let's see if I can get Dr. Larry on.
When I think about Mother Khadijah, it just brings peace to me. It brings comfort to me. It brings
Give me your
joy to
email again,
me
please.
because this
Okay,
was such a
I
magnificent woman, an incredible woman. She was a supreme example
Gotcha.
of what a woman is all about, what a mother, a grandmother, and more importantly, what a wife is all about. Just think about it. Married to the same man for 72 years. But people don't
Yeah.
stay married 7 months or 7 weeks. It's just a joy to have known her, to have had the opportunity to meet her. And I think I really
Right.
got my first
Man,
time really meeting her was when we had, I think it was either the
undefeated.
Million Man March or the Million Family March. But that is when I met her.
Listen,
And she was just so humble. She's just
read it
so
again.
humble and so spiritual.
Read it again.
Didn't have any airs about her.
No, read to me. Read to me
Just a
what you need me
real
to put.
human being. they're spiritually made. And those are the memories of her that I will have until I depart this earth, until Allah gets ready to take me on. But it was just it was just a blessing. It was just such a blessing to have known, to have met Mother Khadijah. And as I said, I think what makes just brings so much laughter to my smiles to my face is to know that she was married to the love of her life for 72 years. Just think about it. Just think about that as women who are listening to this. Just think about it. Married to the same man for 72 years. And she walked alongside him, even though I don't think she had a problem stepping back. But Mr. Farrakhan was not that kind of man. He has the utmost respect for women, and you could see it, and just how he treats people in general, and how he treated her in particular. It was just such an honor to be in their presence. It was a blessing. I think a lot. I just feel so honored and so blessed to have been able to know this magnificent, this wonderful woman who set, in my opinion, an example of what a woman is all about. And what a woman who loves her spouse, who loves her man, who loves her God, does. What she does when you love someone and when you respect someone. I mean, as all of us know, Minister Farrakhan is an internationally renowned person. He's known all over the world. He's traveled all over the world. And she was right there. Just think about all of the things that they shared together. And as a woman, to have that kind of security, it is the most, it's next to being to God. To have that kind of security, to have a man that you knew would protect you, that had your back, and she had his. That's what marriage is all about. And I hope that those of us who were around her, those of us who know her, will take heed to that and promote it. She was a family woman, loved her family, her children, and you can see her children. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's the beauty that God gives us as women. And we must respect and admire our position as a woman because we all have a role. And I think women have a particular role because we are the nurturers. But to be a nurturer and to have a man like Minister Farrakhan next to your side, my God, what more can you ask for?
Doris, I just could not go by without having this conversation. I often think about the Nation of Islam and what our community would be like if there had been no Nation of Islam. But Elijah Muhammad, the teachings that he gave, and the individuals like Malcolm and Minister Farrakhan and so many others, how they were inspired by his teachings and how they came together and formed this
Yes.
nation. And you have to have special leaders. And I think we have Brother Larry here. Let me see if I can bring Brother Larry in.
Hi, Brother Larry. How are you?
I'm doing
Brother
good. I'm
Larry,
doing good. Good to see you
I
all.
want to thank you so much for coming tonight. I was just saying uh, we had to give recognition and honor and have this conversation tonight uh, because I was just saying to Doris, the Nation of Islam's presence in our community
Mhm.
and the teachings from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the work that has been done, the blueprints that have been put before
Right.
us, what would we be like? Our communities be like if we had not had this. And so to have had Mother Khadijah around, and I never knew her personally. I
Mhm.
saw her all the time, but it was always with reverence. And that's why I wanted to give honor and have a discussion about her and the importance of a type of person that she was. And I wrote something, and I was listening to Doris talk, and Doris covered some of this, but I did a little reading, and throughout the final call, and what little I saw, on the internet, and my own thoughts. And I want to read something that I wrote about Mother Khadijah Farrakhan Muhammad.
Okay.
And it starts out here. Before she was known as Khadijah Farrakhan, she was Betsy Ross,
Mm-hmm.
an 8-year-old girl whose life changed the day her brother walked through the door with a young boy who had just defended him from bullying. And that boy was Louis Eugene Walcott,
Mm-hmm.
only 11 at the time, already showing the courage and conviction that would shape his future. From that moment, the two became childhood friends, growing up side by side, sharing school days, dreams, and the quiet beginnings of a lifelong bond. By high school, their friendship had blossomed into a young love that felt both natural and destined. On September the 12th, 1953, Betsy Ross and Louis Walcott married, beginning a partnership that would span more than 7 decades. 2 years later, in 1955, they attended Savior's Day with their infant daughter, a moment that would transition their spiritual lives forever. And it was Betsy who felt the pull first. And the teachings of the Nation of Islam resonated deeply with her sense of discipline, her sense of devotion and purpose. And she immediately, from the responses, the stories that I've heard, even from the minister, she immediately joined the movement, and Louis Walcott followed her.
Mm-hmm.
Upon joining, she was given the name Khadijah, a name of profound significance in Islam, honoring Khadijah bint Khuwailid, the first wife of the Prophet Muhammad and the first person to embrace Islam. The name symbolized strength, loyalty, and spiritual insight, and it reflected the role she would grow into with the Nation of Islam. From childhood friendship to spiritual partnership, Khadijah Farrakhan Muhammad's journey is one of quiet power, unwavering devotion, and a legacy built not in the spotlight, but in the steady work of service, family, and
Yep.
faith. And so tonight, we want to talk about her influence, and the leadership she embodied, only softly, but always profoundly.
That's her. That was
Wow.
her. That was her.
That's
And
powerful.
Mm.
absolutely. And I just wanted to say that about her. And I wanted Doris has had an opportunity to talk about how she felt about
Mm-hmm.
her. And of course, always during the podcast, I have questions, but you feel free to talk as your heart leads you. But I would like for you to share, as a not only a member of the Nation of Islam, but as a man in the Nation of Islam, and talk about the influence that she had and the impact that she had on you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. And thank you for putting me on the spot for, you know, it's easy. It's kind of easy as a man to answer that with Mother Khadijah, because I always saw her. It's going to sound funny because, I came into the nation young. I'm 56, but I was 19 when I came into the nation. And so my first time seeing Mother Khadijah, I was actually in St. Louis. That's before I lived in Chicago. I was in St. Louis, and Brother Akbar, who also recently passed, longtime helper and friend and international representative of the minister. I went with him and a couple of sisters from the mosque in St. Louis, East St. Louis, to pick up um, the ministers, a few important key members of the minister's entourage and staff. And, before he came into St. Louis, he was coming in to speak. And Mother Khadijah and Sister Claudette, I remember where I'm sure it was a few other people with them, but they're the two I remember. And that was my first time having a chance to see her and to be around her. But, the funny thing is kind of how the minister describes Mother Khadijah without saying it, or maybe he has said it. She was always like the boss,
Okay.
like, like she was the unseen boss, behind the scenes. Um, and my memories of her, I remember the minister bought her a beautiful white Rolls Royce,
Mm.
and it was just she was, as Sister Dora said, I heard her say she was very humble, she was very um, down to earth. She loved people. Um, she was a businesswoman. She owned real estate. She owned clothing company that created the uniforms for the sisters. And so, it was just amazing, because the minister, obviously, to do what he did, he had to have someone
Yeah, sure.
who was
To lean
very
on.
powerful, at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think about and reflect on, because if you think about it, all of the minister's children, all of them, were with him the entire time in some way,
That's
shape, or
right.
form. They all supported him. Um, they all reflected the minister and Mother Khadijah's spirit.
Mhm.
You know, so it was just, I think, an amazing testament and testimony of her and the two of them and their union and friendship. I remember the minister telling me that they went to a youth camp together once, you know, and so I mean they really have been together the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um, and but it's just I'm laughing because I remember, um, obviously to have a woman who's with Minister Farrakhan that
Tell it.
long,
Yeah,
she
she
has to
was
be a tough woman. She has to
the
be
bomb.
a type of person. And I remember, we were meeting with the minister at the farm in Michigan, and we were sitting in the gazebo, and it started raining. And the minister is so focused when he gets into the zone, nothing really moves him. And so even this storm, which was like literally a thunderstorm, tornado warning, the whole 9 yards. When we're sitting in the gazebo, he's just talking. He's just going. And I looked towards the house, and I saw one of the brothers, the main security person for the minister. He was looking in the window, like, what are you all going to stay out there? But he didn't say anything. But of course, Mother Khadijah, being the real boss, she
Mm-hmm.
whoever the house came open, and then she shouted his name, saying Gene, you know, um, she's the only person who could have done that, and it was just funny, it was like being on the land or on the farm with your parents or grandparents, and so I always remember that. So she was always, like the minister has said, she was always there as like the disciplinarian almost, like she's holding it down, the entire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just really amazing. So yeah.
It seemed like whatever it was, when it was time to do something,
Mm-hmm.
even joining the nation,
Right.
it's like she didn't give it a thought.
Right.
From what I hear of the story, she takes her baby, she goes up front, she goes and joins. She doesn't ask any questions. Um, and he has talked about her at different points in time. When he gets ready to do something, she say, "Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it
Right.
done." Without any questioning. And I think that has to have been an example that also carried over into uh, an example and influence for the rest of the nation.
Yes.
To see her in different positions. You said I had read that she makes clothes, that she made clothes. She actually designed
Right.
clothing,
Mm-hmm.
helping to establishing a standard for a
Right.
dress for the
And
women
for Savior's
in the.
Day, she established the children's village. So during the Savior's Day, the
Yeah.
children would have things to do. And
Right.
you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
the Rose Boys, and here again, that's that unassuming mother, Sister Khadijah, that I saw. I mean, when you were around her, it's just like being around your girlfriend. You could get down. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
could just talk about any and everything and feel so comfortable. Now, to
Right.
me, that
Mm-hmm.
relationship between Sister Khadijah and Minister Farrakhan, the love and the respect. There was so much love and so much respect, because when you think about Minister Farrakhan and this worldly man and how the world sees him and how the world has attacked him, and you've got this amazing, you would have to have an amazing woman who understands and believes in what he believes in. And as a result of all that, she had his back. Just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Love and respect, and having the same values, the same spirit, same principle, and having a strong faith in God. I mean, that is a
Mm-hmm.
powerful, powerful combination.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so it is, I'm so glad that we're doing this to uplift people like Mother Khadijah, because you always hear people from the other, the dominant society, and they are
Mm-hmm.
loyalty and they're this and they're that. But we have black women like Dr. King's wife, Malcolm's wife, Megha's wife, and Sister Khadijah. These are phenomenal women,
Yes.
because these men
That's right.
took on a task. They took on a role to save Black people, the liberation of Black people. And as a result, you go through hell.
Right.
Only she can tell you. Only Malcolm's wife, Megha's wife, Dr. King's wife could really tell you what they went through being and staying with these men.
Yes.
And it wasn't just about them, but the what they were exemplifying, what they were demonstrating is what helped to build
The
the
nation.
nation, because now you're giving an example for how women should carry themselves, for how men should carry themselves, and how they should relate towards one another. And so that's why, having people that were part of the nation, just to talk about seeing that,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of impact it had on you, as a person, as a man, as a husband. Uh, if you can share that, Brother
Yes, ma'am.
Larry.
It has a powerful impact because the minister, even at times, I recall a time where he spoke to the men only in the men's class. And I remember once where he in talking to the brothers, he kind of he was talking and he joked. Uh, he was. I have to share this. Um, he was talking about different things, but he touched on food and how to eat to live, and he mentioned chicken. You know how the minister teaches, like.
Mhm. Mhm.
But he mentioned a particular chicken place, and he said, "Well, maybe not that, because that was Mother Khadijah's favorite place." So even in talking with the brothers, he showed the respect he had for Mother Khadijah. You
Mhm.
know, he went out of his way to show that, and so just always teaching and uplifting her
Mhm.
because he knew he was uplifting the black woman,
Black woman.
period, and the mother, the wife, period. And so it was beautiful to see that and to grow into adulthood, seeing that and
Mhm.
uh, observing that, in those lessons, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate it. And as Sister Doris mentioned, Mother Khadijah was very generous, always thinking about the children as the as being involved with the school and education at Muhammad University of Islam. I remember um, Nana Rawlings, President Jerry Rawlings of Ghana, his
Yeah.
wife came and and visited Mother Khadijah in the school um, once, and of course President Jerry Rawlings visited at a separate time, but she came herself, and she was very close, and Mother Khadijah was a big part of that. And I know they traveled the world and had they visited different countries with the minister, and but they did a lot of work of their own, you
Mhm.
know, that 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 may not be broadcast and known. And I think as an educator, I think what we need to do, one of the things that I want to do is take Mother Khadijah's experiences, her work, Mother Tanata's, Sister Ava and others, Sister Claudette, and really document this,
Sure.
so that we can build it into the education and the publishing and literature, because we fall short on that. And so that's one of the things that I want to focus on. What we're talking about tonight, I want to make that a part of the learning experience.
Because
So
now
basically,
I read that she started the final call.
yeah, I was about to say
And
that.
writing about the final call in their basement.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When the
Mhm.
ministers started rebuilding the nation, it was in their home.
Mm-hmm.
So Mother Khadijah and the children were, along with Brother Akbar and a couple of others. I mean, they were the nation. They were the staff. They were working to help with the final call, founding and publishing. Um, and the writing and the editing and the, all of what the minister was doing, and the bean pies and, um, so yeah, so everything that went on with the nation, if you think about it, under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you mentioned the blueprint. If you think about that, that was a lot to have to reestablish and
Oh yeah.
reorganize.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah.
so Mother Khadijah was right there with the minister as a major part of that, and her and the children, to a great degree, they were the workers and the foot soldiers, because once the minister stood up, of course he was all over the country, uh,
Mhm.
starting that process. So they were right here in Chicago working and reestablishing that.
And even with the NOI, was she working to help coordinate the NOI? She was involved with
Right.
that. Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The initial offices, like all of the offices and operations that we have now, her and her children, uh, they were intricately involved with reestablishing those offices and those different posts and the different work that needed to be done to get the machine rolling again, and the nation growing again. And so yeah, I mean, once the final call and started pumping out, going out there weekly, and the minister trained, the rest is history.
That was a monumental job. That was a
Yeah.
monumental job. He was committed to not allowing the nation to die.
Right.
Because had it not been for Minister Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah and the family, it would have died. And just think about
Right.
the monumental work that went into uh, keeping it going up to this
Mhm.
point. Now, I'm not a registered Muslim, but I have been following the minister and the nation for over 41 years.
Mhm.
I'm not
Right.
a registered Muslim, but I feel a part of the nation. They embrace me. They
Yes.
welcome me. They honor me. And I'm just honored to be a part of them and the teachings. And that's
Mhm.
what's missing in our society today, particularly in the Black community. The teachings
Right.
that are carried on,
Right.
how they teach the girls, how they teach the boys, how they
Mhm.
teach us how to be a family, to do for self, to support one another. I mean, that's beautiful. And if
Right.
we just had many more replicas of that, just think about where we would be.
Mhm.
And I say this all the time, and people may get upset. I don't really care, and it's not. I don't put down our people, but to me, they represent the best of our people, and that's not to put down any other religions. I don't. I would never do that. But because I've been a part of them for all these years, I see what they have done for our people and what they continue to do for our people, which is good because
Right.
all this other stuff is so much destruction, it's so much divisions, it's so many distractions, and they are focused on their teachings. And you have to be focused on what you believe in order for it to be successful.
Right.
And I think it's also the message in the teaching, the truth of the message
Yeah.
in the teaching. I have talked about this or mentioned this on our show a number of times. Um, I grew up, my history coming up in grammar school was Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves.
Mhm.
We talked about Harriet Tubman, learned a little bit about George Washington Carver and the Peanuts.
Mhm.
It wasn't until college where I started to hear some real teachings.
Mm.
And the students would come and sign up for the classes, and the classes would be filled, but you still showed up. If we sat on the floor, we stood against the wall because you were hearing something that you
Mhm.
hadn't been hearing,
Right.
and you knew the truth in it. And I remember Brother Muhammad at CVS High School who was teaching. His class was the same way. You had students,
Right.
they wouldn't go to class, they're hanging out in the hallway or whatever. But when it was time for his class, it was standing room only. And this is a lot of what happens when people come, and especially our young men.
Mm.
And they hear the teachings. And like Mother Khadijah, when she heard the truth, she moved.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
she started to marching
Yep.
forward, and she didn't stop. And it's that what sets the Nation of Islam from a lot of other
Mhm.
religions is because the truth of and the message around the issues that have impact the Black community here in
Mm.
America is taught. And that's why when they ask if you believe in what we believe in, you see
Mhm.
people lined up, along the walls, and especially our men,
Mhm.
Mhm.
especially our young men,
And
especially our
Denise, when you talk about Jesus, I learned more about Jesus from Minister Farrakhan than I did the entire time I was in that Catholic church.
Mm.
That's where I learned about the true history, the meaning of Jesus Christ. Nobody teaches it like he does. And he knows all of those scriptures. No one knows those scriptures better than the minister. And it's just a treat. It's a treat to listen to him talk about it. So, I mean, I mean, just the beauty of the nation and what it represents. I just thank Allah for it. And I hope it will last another 100 or 200 years because our people need it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think those are excellent points you all bring out because if you think about it, I actually was listening to a conversation today about this. It's actually this Christian radio, Moody Bible Institute, but they were talking to a lady who came from Morocco to the United States, and she went from Islam to Christianity, where we came from Christianity to Islam.
Mhm.
So Minister Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah is a big part of this because she masterfully was able to connect to the community better than anyone.
Yeah.
So, you know, most people don't know the stories, and that's why I mentioned education is going to be really key to teach this history, is because, you know, people wouldn't know the stories of how the minister and Mother Khadijah actually built the nation and
Right.
rebuilt the nation. You know, there's a couple from New York that moved to Atlanta. The husband has passed on, but the wife is still in Atlanta. And they told me the story of how Mother Khadijah and the minister brought them into the nation.
Mhm.
They didn't come to the mosque.
Mhm.
Mother Khadijah and the minister were out in the community
Mhm.
and met them, befriended them. She said once they bought them ice cream and they just, you know,
Mhm.
hung out and talked. Once she said they got them a haircut, you know, just things that most people would not even think about.
Mhm.
And you know, this is the way that they together went out and connected with the people and built relationships and built friendships. And it's the same with the church, because obviously most of our people are Christians, you know. So they never had any barriers there.
No, never
There were
did.
no barriers there, and of course the minister, being, you know, a master teacher who grew up through his mother understanding the Bible and knowing it backwards and forwards. I mean, you're right. He's taught a lot of Christians. My
Oh,
introduction
yeah.
to the Islam and to the minister was through Christians. I was literally in the church when I heard Islam. My uncle, who ran the church, an AME church, used to listen to the minister. So, you know, he's helped to, you know, connect this bridge and bridge the gap. You know, as Brother Jabril would say, closing the gap. The minister has closed the gap, you
Yep.
know, and made and connected that bridge. And Mother Khadijah was right there with him. They were key together, building those relationships and connecting the people to a point where, I mean, you can't even, like I said, you won't know until it's actually documented and actually in
Mhm.
history teach
Mhm.
people the impact and how they did what they did and how it's impacting the Black community. And to Doris's point, even though it may look rough now with our people culturally, educationally, I think the seed has been planted there,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just a matter of time, you know, to grow and evolve and, you know, let that, you know, seed grow. So, yeah.
Mhm. And you know that discipline, that self-discipline that you're taught, that is major. That's a major component of life. Because if you're not disciplined, you can't be too successful at anything. I mean, if you are a good cook, you have to be disciplined.
Right.
And you
And
have
that,
to think also of the fact that She bore 9 children.
Yes, 9 children. My
She
God.
bore 9 children. She
Mhm.
raised 9 children in the midst of all of
Oh.
this, all of
Mhm.
what she was going through. And so everything she had to have, there's a, a conversation in what they call Zen Buddhism, and you mentioned the minister getting into a zone.
Right.
When you get into this zone, nothing else
Mhm.
matters. You're totally focused on what you're doing, and you're
Right.
able to be whatever it is that you are. And
Mm,
she had embodied that ability and that essence. You had to have been able to do that and bring 9 children into the world, working with one of the most powerful men in the world, dealing with some major issues that
Yes.
Black people here in America have, and even going around the world internationally, dealing with
hmm
the same thing, building a nation here. Uh, you have to be operating on another level,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And
and
Yeah.
you have to be in a zone, and you have to be able to just be, and not because other people are you're looking at what other people are expecting you to say, or expecting you to do, you
and,
Yeah.
and,
know.
Don't.
and what she
Don't.
said about her faith, it was her faith. Just
hmm
think, you have this man whom you love, and he's attacked in the way that he was attacked and still being attacked. Just think about what that can do to you, how that can impact you as a human being. You had to have faith and love and respect. I mean,
Mhm.
like I said, only they can tell the story behind what they've gone through in this world, believing in what they're believing in, standing up for their people, the liberation of their people, and they were strong enough, and they were divine enough to withstand all of those blows, those attacks,
hmm
and
Yeah.
and stay together 72 years, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And I have to add, the 9 children. I think they said at the janaza, 47 grandchildren,
grandchildren. Mhm.
67 great grandchildren, and 2 or 3 great great grandchildren.
Yes.
That's a nation right there.
Right
Right.
there. Yeah, you're right.
Right. Right.
That's a nation right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely.
And from what I know and saw, Mother Khadijah was very important to um, all of them. You know,
Mhm.
she was very important to all of them. So,
And in
and
spite of what they may have said about the minister, I never heard one negative word about Mother Khadijah.
Not one.
mm,
Not
Not
one.
one. No
right.
scandals,
Mhm.
but
Mm,
no one ever attacked her.
Mhm.
mm. It's a good
You
point.
never did. You never
Yeah.
heard.
You never heard anything. And she was a presence there. You knew that was her husband. You knew she supported what he was doing, obviously. Uh, but no one ever attacked her.
Mm,
It's like she was this powerful entity that was there, that
right.
wasn't to be touched.
That's what he said at the janaza. She was the wings
Mhm.
beneath his wings, and
Mm,
she
Yep.
was. I mean, even with the minister, as fiery as the minister can be, whenever one on one with the minister, he is. I mean, he exudes spirituality. Because I'll never
mhm,
forget when I had dinner. First time I had dinner, I was at his house for dinner. And I was sitting kind of across from him. And I could just feel that spirit and his divinity. And she was the same way. It was
mm,
just an honor. They brought a sense of peace to you when you were in their presence. And
mhm,
that's that human part of them that, particularly with the minister, that the world did not see, because they always portray him as this fiery this and fiery this. But even when he did interviews with what's Phil Donahue and this man with ABC I just watched the other day. Very humble, and she was
Mhm.
the same way. I mean, again, I cannot say enough how honored I am to have known her and to have been in her presence. And I hope, like we say, long live the spirit of the Million Man March, long live the spirit of Mother Khadijah.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
she was very instrumental with that
Yeah, she
in the
was.
Million
Hmm.
Man March.
Yeah, she was
Hmm.
instrumental in
Larry,
all.
did you remember anything that she did and specifically around the Million Man March?
Brother Larry, do you think
Do you
that,
remember anything specifically that she did around that?
say what?
Did
Hmm.
you? I was asking Brother Larry if he recalled anything specifically that she did, or that he recalls that she did around that Million Man March, because that was a big moment for
Yeah,
Minister.
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Mother Khadijah was very involved in the community, and she kept a connection to the community, and to leaders in the community and organizations, both here in Chicago and throughout the country. So I remember they had, because of course she was there. She walked out,
Mhm.
with the minister, for the main address. But I remember they had, Sister Doris was involved as well. Um, Women, there were women meetings just like there were male only meetings. There was
Mhm.
also women only meetings. Um, and that's how the Million Woman March was able to be successful as well, because women were already there
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
Mother Khadijah and others as the lead, involved in the organizing of the Million Man March. So yeah, that was they were intricately involved, as Doris can tell you, being involved with the LOCs and the women's only meetings, and them helping to galvanize and to push the men,
Right,
to the men's
right.
only meeting, and the LOCs, and the participation that was required to pull off, the Million Man March.
Brother Larry, we had a flyer that when Sister Donna was very involved, very involved. A flyer, I think the flyer said, I still have some of that literature. Black women in support of the Million Man March, and we did have our women's only meeting, strategizing on how we were going to get the information out and how we were going to support the brothers. So yeah, it was a very interesting time, very exciting.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but I think educationally, it may be the only way to implement learning tools and programs to really bring this, because we're in two generations away now. Where you
Mhm.
have children and young people who they know very little, if
Very
any,
good. Mhm.
about the Million Man March, the Million Women's March, the Millions More movement, and all of the other ones that came after that, inspired by that.
And
So,
that is by design.
Yeah.
right.
That our children, they're diminishing Black history, uh,
Hmm.
discussions and celebrations, in the schools, and the reversal of talking about Black history is creating trauma, for other people,
Right.
thinking about it and remembering it and all of that. But you are absolutely correct. Education, understanding, that's what's part of the lot of the conflicts that we're having today, is people's lack of knowledge.
Right.
And you know
People's
what?
your knowledge, just like the men that were in prison, so many of them, Malcolm, and so many of them, when they began to gain knowledge, that
Hmm.
empowered that's what created the power, was the knowledge. And I saw a number of young men that I knew as I was coming up just
Mm-hmm.
make a total change, having been a part of the Nation of Islam. And it was the knowledge. And so we do have to keep beating that horse about
Right.
education. And we
And
do have to find ways to keep it out here.
yeah, and you know what, Denise, that brings me to, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was pushing, and Minister Farrakhan, do for self. They are
Mm-hmm.
going to continue as long as we're on this planet to try to do away with our history, with our accomplishments. So we've got to become laser focused on telling our own story.
Right.
I'm
Right.
really tired of them. I'm sick of them. They're not going to stop. They're doing what they're doing to try to continue to survive. So we must do the same thing because we have the tools. We have a blueprint, the
Mm-hmm.
Nation of Islam. You look
Right.
at those on the back of the paper. What do the Muslims want? We have the blueprint. We don't need to reinvent anything. We have our tools. We don't need to try to be like the Hispanics or anyone else and whatever they're doing. Let them do them, and we continue to do us and follow those teachings, follow the example that Mother Khadijah has left. We have everything.
Right.
So it's up to us to keep this going. She was a fantastic example for women. You
Mm-hmm.
want to know what a woman is? Since Ketanji Brown didn't know what when we asked her what is a woman, she couldn't define what a woman is. Well, Mother Khadijah defined it.
Right.
Forget Ketanji Brown. Because
Mm-hmm.
anytime a woman can sit there and carry on that nonsense she carried on about what a woman is, we have Mother Khadijah. She has defined what a woman is all about, particularly a Black woman.
Yeah. That's a good point. Excellent point. Yeah, and I think we Sister Doris and Sister Denise, I think from this conversation we should and could initiate further conversation, reflection, question and answers about that. You know, um, what is a woman? The role of women. Um, because we're in a society now where we're seeing a lot of identity crisis and conflict in just the basic aspects of identity and roles.
Right.
So I think that may be a good starting point for conversations to, share like what we're discussing with others and educators, and start a conversation on how to use this information to educate people and to kind of change that. Well, like we said, with the minister with MUI, the education paradigm, to bring in a new education paradigm, to shift the way we think, the way we see things. And by doing that, we'll see a change in schools, we'll see a change in people, we'll see a change in culture, in all the cultures, because the schools have over time become so dry and void of spirit. you know, I'm not surprised we see what we see in the current world, the conflicts we
Yeah,
see.
the
And I
public
think
school, the public school system is is a cesspool, really. It's
Mhm.
basically a cesspool, and that's why our children are in the condition that they're in. But you come out to Muhammad University, you don't have all this nonsense going on.
Right,
well, I
right,
think you have to have a vision.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a goal.
right,
You can't be all over the place.
Mm-mm.
Everybody can't be the leader or the one with the microphone. We got to learn how to, if we all trying to get to the same place, how we can work with each other. Her Minister Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah, they both uh, had the same beliefs,
Yep.
and they both had
Mhm.
the same vision,
Yep. Yep.
and
Right.
and they both had a role to play. I used to
Right.
watch my grandparents when I was coming up, and grandma called grandpa daddy, and grandpa called grandma mama. And they both had a role to play. They knew, I could see they had distinct roles, but it was still all about taking care of the household, taking care of
Mhm.
the family. And you weren't going to go to grandpa and ask grandpa anything without grandpa asking, did you ask mama? And the same thing
Mhm.
with grandpa, with grandma. Did you ask daddy to make sure there's no conflict going on here? Um,
Mhm.
and so we got to have the same goals. And I think we're kind of misguided right now. Everybody's chasing a dollar right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they see, and that's what's being thrown out at us in the media when you turn on the internet. Uh, you see Jay-Z and all his money, and he's billionaires.
Yes.
Everybody's not going to be a billionaire, and everyone doesn't want to be a billionaire. Everyone doesn't need to be a billionaire, to be happy. That's not what we all should be shooting for. So I think we're misguided because we don't have the same goal, and that's why the nation is able to move forward, because you have a similar goal that you all are working towards, and you've been a light in the community, for other people. And so, we have one more minute here. We're at the top of the hour.
Okay.
Uh, Brother Larry, Doris, let you have the last words here. But I'm happy that we were able to have this conversation. I'm happy to be living in a time to have
Yeah.
seen what I have seen, and to have known Mother Khadijah and Minister Farrakhan, and seen the work that they have done.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Well, I echo what you're saying. It's been an amazing journey. Um, and I think we should, you know, capsulate it with taking it and putting it into a way and into a format where people can learn about it, appreciate it, because it would be a tragedy if we didn't share this with the people.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, it is a light, and it's the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And Mother Khadijah represented that, Minister Farrakhan. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to thank Minister Farrakhan and the family for sharing Mother Khadijah with us. I want
Mhm.
to thank Minister Farrakhan for showing a man how to put your mate, your woman, on a pedestal. I want to thank Minister Farrakhan for showing men how you don't have to be afraid of a strong woman, or a woman who has opinions about different things.
Right.
And to me, and the beauty, that's the greatest gift that they have given us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
greatest gift for her to show young women how to be a woman, how to be a mother. And even though you're going to have your differences with your mate, but you
Mhm.
never do it if they had it. So that to me is an everlasting memory that I want to hold on to, and we have to keep her spirit and what she represented alive. So I want to
Yes.
thank the family again for sharing her.
And piggybacking on Brother Larry and this whole educational piece, and reading, as you know, we support our bookstores. We have
Mhm.
the resurgence of Black bookstores here in Chicago, and our bookstore of the month that we're featuring is Call and Response. They're located at 1390 East Hyde Park Boulevard. They're open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 6 Wednesday through Saturday, and 12 to 6 on Sunday. And they have a number of books where they're trying to uplift Black authors and some marginalized voices. And we've selected as our book of the month, Jesse Jackson, A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson and the Fight for Black Political Power by Abby Phillip. So if you go to our website and you subscribe, you can become possibly a winner of this book, Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Community. We pay for the book. We want you to go into the bookstore and purchase the book so you can see all of the wonderful materials that are in this bookstore. There's poetry, children's books, cookbooks, greeting cards, puzzles, even some albums. I noticed that I saw in there. So it's a very nice establishment, and reading is very important. And a lot of our people, contrary to what people say, are reading.
Right.
And so they have a book club and just the whole 9 yards. And so we ask that you support Call and Response. And let's keep the educational piece going. All right.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you for this program.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming, Brother Larry. And again, we are thankful for the life of Mother Khadijah Farrakhan Muhammad. And so, family,
Yes,
remember, we need to support our Black businesses in our community and keep that dollar circulating. That's very important. And you can also go to our website and make a donation to help us with our cause. So thank you for coming and have a good night.
Good night.
Right.